So the world of DC is brewing with fresh content, everything from the Batman Cape Crusader to the final season of Superman and Lois to the Joker sequel. And of course, there's the anticipated launch of the DCU under James Gunn with a hefty slate of live action and animated shows and movies. But tonight we're diving into Matt Reeves' continued vision of Gotham City, talking about the new show, The Penguin. So welcome everyone to a fantastic episode of the Fantastic Mystery Podcast. I'm Zach Briggs with the lovely Justin Strange and Jake Kramers. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Good now that I'm finally home. I just ate dinner. Just ate dinner.
I literally just finished watching the second episode of The Penguin, so
I
it's
watched
fresh.
Fresh.
I
Perfect.
watched the second episode last night. It was good.
And did you watch? I didn't watch any of the behind the scenes, so we have Jake
I
here
didn't.
who's able to
Yeah, I didn't know they
fill
were.
us in on those bits.
I thought about it. I was like, I just should see if there's anything after the credits. And then I was like, nah, I'm gonna do something else.
It always goes right into it. Especially Max is really good about that. All of their like tentpole films, they always have behind the scenes following
Right.
and usually a companion podcast, which
Oh
is
yeah,
the
they do have
case
they have the
with
companion
The
podcast for
Last of Us,
and
Chernobyl, and with The Penguin as well. There's a uh, I don't know if I can
companion
say the
podcast.
word.
Yeah,
Yeah, companion podcast, which
yeah.
I haven't
They're
listened to yet, but
um.
yeah, I will.
I should start thinking about that because like Rick and Morty on at least on Max does the behind the scenes thing, but it doesn't. For Rick and Morty, it goes right into it, but with the Penguin, it doesn't. It has that like graphic type credit, so I'm suspecting that after that, it's probably some of those behind the scenes thing. But I did
Yeah,
start. I did continue to watch the end credits a little bit because of the song they chose for
but the
the
second
second
episode was
episode.
real
The song,
clever.
yeah, it was Sweet Dreams, wasn't it? Sweet Dreams are made of these. No,
No,
it was God, what was it? The song that they just it was Happy Together. Happy Together,
yeah,
yeah. But it was like a
but real
slowed down
mellow.
version of it, yeah. I was like, this is cool. And I was like, I'm gonna play video games and get off.
Yeah, the last all those HBO films or shows have the wonderful BTS content, which I don't watch, but I probably should. I mean, a lot of it you can find on YouTube as well, which is kind of cool. But anyways, let's talk about the Penguin. I guess this little synopsis this takes place after the events of the Batman by Matt Reeves. I remember Riddler was causing havoc, and Gotham is a flooded mess now. And this is an opportune time after the death of Carmine Falcone for Oswald Cobb, not Oswald Cobblepot, to do some scheming. So, two episodes in, I guess first impressions. Whoever wants to start.
Well,
Well,
I have a question real quick. Why do you think, I mean, is it just because they want to try to be more serious that they're changing names? Like Edward Nashton and Oswald Cobb? Is it like
I
are
read
they
an I read
I
in an interview that there something to the effect that they believe Cobblepot wouldn't be like a realistic name in the real world, but
I think
I've
that's
heard the name Cobb before
I
plenty of
I
times,
I
so it
think
makes
that's a
sense.
really poor excuse. Um,
I kind of
for
do
that
too.
specific reason. I think it works. Oswald Cobb works,
Yeah.
but I think it's a really stupid excuse as Cobblepot wouldn't work because the name. That's dumb. It, it wouldn't work because the story they're trying to tell this guy, or the story they're trying to tell about this character, is a rise to power. And Oswald Cobblepot was already this rich bastard who was doing crime to do crime, whereas Oswald Cobb clearly comes from low income, low class, he's kind of the community man who's worked his way up.
This is a different version of Batman, right? So, I mean, Oswald Cobblepot in Batman Returns, what is he? Does he become mayor or he just is almost mayor, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like gets almost gets voted into office, you know. So to me, it's like keep the Cobblepot. Edward Nigma, maybe not so much. I would be okay with it, but that's because I like the name Ed Enigma. But what are you gonna do? That's why I'm not a DC director. I'd keep the name. I'd put Calendar Man in there, no doubt.
That would be a fun guy to see
That's what I'm
in a
saying.
movie. Honestly, they took like a realistic look at him, made him some sort of like
Well, I mean,
weird serial killer,
he's in
killing and stuff.
Batman Hush, and like if they're gonna use Hush for a future movie, maybe they'll have Calendar Man in there because he was in that movie.
I thought there
Um,
were discussions about that, the Hush aspect being in the sequel,
they well,
the
yeah,
Batman.
I did read that
A
they were
lot of
supposed to be,
rumors.
but I mean they could add Tommy Elliott in there at least. That's who Hush
Right.
is.
So what first struck out to you guys when you watched the first episode of The Penguin? And I mean, for me, it was just Colin Farrell's wonderful performance, knocking it out of the park like he did in The Batman, and is unrecognizable as Colin Farrell. He's a crime boss, a mafioso type, and the
Blows my
makeup
mind.
prosthetic is it's wonderful. And that scene where he's having a conversation with Alberto, the son of Carmine Falcone, who's we probably a lot of us are thinking that he's going to be next in line and should be next in line, but impulsive Oz takes matters into his own hands
Yeah.
and
That sounds like a
shoots and
Donald
kills
Trump
him.
insult. Impulsive Oz. Guy laughed at him. He couldn't handle it. He shot him. Said, "Oh no, I've shot the son of the mafia boss. I've shot the future Don. What am I gonna do?" Impulsive Oz.
My goodness, that was wonderful. First
That was
time
a
I've
good,
heard that from
pretty
you,
good
Jake.
impression.
But I mean, just after that sequence, it and then shortly we see the penguin slate pop up. I believe that's when we first saw it was after Alberto's death. But that was the first thing that struck it to me, and that nice little waddle he has going on that makes sense because of his, I guess,
His
Clubfoot.
speed.
feats.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I really
oh,
like, believe it or not, I'm kind of a I I have I have a minor in studio art, and one of my favorite specialties in the art world is typography, particularly print typography. So like the Gutenberg press and actually like printing press typography, I really, really love. Um, and I really am in love with the typography that they made for the Batman and the Penguin. When they come out with the Batman, they had commented that they had made their own like typeface for the Batman. I'm like, that's weird, making a whole font for just like one movie. Um, but it makes sense if they're gonna expand this universe and use it for other shows. It was a really great use of that, and I really liked um, the G in Penguin is very, very sharp, and it's very reminiscent of the character's like nose
well,
that he's
yeah.
known for. I thought that was a really, really clever use of negative space
Did you
to implement
did,
the idea of that character.
did you notice this first shot in the second episode? It was a graphic match with that
It
G
was.
nose, and then it
I did.
faded into his nose. It was really
Into his
cool.
nose. I sure did.
I was like,
I
oh my God, that was
love
beautiful. Because like that's what I noticed too. The first like not the first time I saw the penguin, like the logo, but for the second episode, I saw that and I was like, oh my God, that's his freaking face.
yeah.
Like I was like, that is so cool. And then it did that graphic match right into his face. I was
Is
like,
that
oh
when
my
he's in the
God.
car? He's sitting in the
He's
car or something?
Yep.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I'm about to jizz. Like it was so cool. Because
The
You probably
typography is
did,
just
man. You didn't
away.
notice.
I talk about these things in film class, you know, and like and not really typography, but like the graphic matches where things happen and then there's like the next shot is a graphic match of the thing before it, and that was one of those. And I just talked about that recently, so I'm still kind of high on that lesson. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I have another example for a graphic match. So I guess I'll talk about it real quick. First impressions, I mean, here's the thing. I never really cared for Colin Farrell. like at all.
Fair.
I don't know. For some reason, him and like Jake Gyllenhaal, their faces, they're like acting, but their faces are very like almost like dead, right? So, but with his role as the Penguin, probably his best role ever. And then Banshees of Inisherin, I thought was a great movie with Colin Farrell, and like it still blows my mind that that's freaking Colin Farrell. I'm like, there's no freaking way that's Colin Farrell, but they say it's Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell says it's Colin Farrell, so it's like I don't know. It's just like his performance and his voice. It's not even really. It's just like the voice he's chosen is
He's
like wonderful.
unrecognizable.
Yeah, it's just wonderful. And then the show, of course, like I was really excited to see Kristen Milioti in this. And spoiler alert: she's from How I Met Your Mother. She's the mother on How I Met Your Mother, and so like I said, spoiler alert: you could have covered your eyes, or
Ruined it for so
ears,
many people.
ears. You could have covered your ears. You could have covered your eyes, but it wouldn't have worked. So anyway, I I saw her and I was really excited because I've only ever seen her in more comedic roles like Palm Springs, How I Met Your Mother. Um, I think there was one other thing I saw her in that I don't remember right now. Oh, I saw her in an episode of Black Mirror, which was really good. So this was like a more dramatic role she's taken on, and like to me, she seems to be doing okay. I'm still like, and I told you this last night, I'm still like trying to analyze her performance just because I like it when comedy actors and comedians play dramatic roles. And I really seem to scrutinize them more than dramatic actors. So, like, when you see Jim Carrey in a serious movie, you know, you want to see if they can do really well. And so, with her, that's kind of what I'm doing. And so, yeah. And then there's the story with Penguin is so far so good. I'm still trying to understand and hope that the role of Vic pays off because right now he's just some little sidekick that I don't know. Maybe they're trying to do like a Batman and Robin thing with Penguin and this kid, but also the kid has a stutter. So
Yeah, I think having Vic as a character in existence, whom I thought was just going to get killed, uh,
Mhm.
first episode.
I still think he's gonna get killed.
I think,
I think he
yeah,
might get killed later in the season.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a vehicle for to give the viewers a sense of, hey, is Oz isn't this madman all the time. He has a heart, and I like the moments of him talking with Vic, having eating food and having these heart-to-heart conversations with him, and then real like trusting him to be there for him, and then uh, just and in the second episode, having that uh, moment where he's in the ditch and he's like, just get down there and look at the bodies. Basically, kind of tormenting him
Oh
for him to
yeah.
understand to don't mess up again. This could be bad for all of us, including you.
Mhm.
So he gives them like another chance, so to speak. So I think that's great to be able to see this more humanized side of a villain that uh, we've really just heard bad things about in Batman lore. So I mean, it's shows like this that provide uh, those stories of a character from multiple viewpoints, not just the bad.
I do like how fleshed out the the Penguin character is. Even in the Batman, he felt kind of like a one note character. Like he was, oh, just dirty mob boss. And I was really confused. How are they going to make a fantastic show out of this character? Which, I mean, to be fair, was an interesting character. He had great character design. He had kind of that uniqueness to him. But I don't know, how are they going to take a mob boss, the Penguin that everyone already knows, and turn it into a series when we're just so used to him being his character? And I guess, that's why we're not making the big bucks. That's why they're making the big bucks, because these first two episodes have been fantastic. The first episode was a really, really amazing at playing out his character. And then the second episode, it's like the first episode is went into kind of his impulsivity and also like his care for the community. And then episode two is going into his character of like his intelligence and his conniving ability to play all these different characters together. And if the rest of the season goes like, and because I think there's 8 episodes planned for this. So if like we get 3 or 4 more episodes of this kind of material, fleshing all these characters out, and then like something happens at the end of episode 4 and it's like a race to the finish, that's gonna make for a really good television show.
Yeah, with 8 episodes, we can't afford any filler content. But based on what I've seen so far, I don't think we're going to get needless plot points. It's all going to be cohesive and engaging, I think.
And I think they're both about an hour long, are they not? They don't feel like they're an hour long. Um, Anything shorter, I don't think would have done it justice, and anything longer really would have been too much.
Right.
They don't suffer from filler, at least so far. They haven't suffered from filler like some of the Disney shows do, where they're like, oh, we've got 6 episodes and they're an hour long each. Let's do a little chase sequence. Let's have this little girl outrun these monsters through a forest. It's-
And we need a Vic. We just need a Vic-centric episode. No Penguin.
I bet we will with the
I
text
want to
that you
learn more
sent me
about
in
him.
episode 2. And like the text asking like where he is and his kind of like concern and with the missing posters and things. I bet we will. I bet we'll have a Vic-centered episode and we'll see everything from like his perspective.
As if he is going to die in like the final episode. I mean, it'd
Oof.
be nice to build up our care for the
Shit,
character.
how hard would it be if, or like how hardcore would it be if we do the episode it was like it's Vic's episode. Like it's everything from his perspective and then he gets ganked at the end of his own episode.
Shoot, I could see like Penguin like wanting to save Vic or help him out in some situation that could mean life or death for Oz, but he knows he's not that he's not going to go all the way to help him, and he's just going to leave him to die for his inevitable fate. But you'll still see those emotions of Oz caring for this guy in some fashion, and then you get to see every person has a mother. Oz has a mother, and we get to learn that she has a kind of a
The dementia.
dementia, and she egging on her son to become the best baddie of Gotham City.
There was another thing in episode 1. I thought when they go over to her place and she's got it with how she was gonna start chewing him out and telling him to like be good, but then she's like, "You pussy boy, are you a pussy boy? No, are you a pussy boy? No, you're my big strong man." And I was like, "Oh, jeez, what?
I didn't
Well,
expect that, to be
moral
honest.
quandary? What is this? What backwards upside down world has this dude been living in?"
Dual psychosis.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I don't know if I could take that from my mom.
Yeah, I think those scenes with the mother is powerful, and then just the putting on the jazz music and the vinyl, the use of like lyrical tunes in this show so far, it been meaningful. I thought.
Yeah, they played music during episode 2 as well during like the it was like the FEMA sequence. Um and there's like something on the radio like switches on and it was like this old jazzy tune that really seemed to fit Oz's character. It was like he's unreliable, he's something else, da da da, but and it was like this old jazzy tune that uh while everything was going on, it was kind of like a little tune that was like playing for Oz or representing him.
Right.
They've done a good job with the music and the audio.
Yeah, I think it was called "Call Me Irresponsible." I think I had Shazam that. I'm looking
Yeah.
at it right now by Bobby Darin, so that makes sense. Yeah, I like the use of those crooner-esque tunes in this show. I guess they're trying to go say a little mafioso-esque Italian American type music, but some people make comparisons to shows like The Sopranos, just like James Gandolfini's Tony Soprano. I don't think that's a little bit of a stretch, but I could see some of like the familial infighting. Obviously, you have the Falcones, the Maroni family, the Maroni guy in was it Arkham State Prison? Is that what they call it in the show? Um, yeah, I could see there's some comparisons, but I don't think it's on the level of The Sopranos quite. But Colin, I feel like if James Gandolfini was alive, I would have been interested to see him play the Penguin, but he wouldn't have needed any prosthetics. I mean, he would have been looking the part already.
Is he
But
dead?
he's dead, yeah.
When did he die?
Several years ago. I don't know when exactly, but
Oh.
yeah, that's a wonderful show, by the way. But what anything else you guys like specifically want to talk about? How about aesthetic? Like the first episode, we get to see that beautiful Gotham City, even though it's just seedy and flooded everywhere. You see the little montage of remember this? This is what happened at the end of the Batman.
Yeah.
The news clippings montage. That's kind of nice. They even say the word. I think maybe it's the Batman, maybe it's vigilante. Um, but I just thought that the look of everything it was on point with and it should be with Matt Reeves's the Batman. It was a like seamless visual transition. I thought.
It always makes me wonder when they have accompanying shows to movies, especially at the level of the Penguin. What sort of planning went into that? And whether if the Penguin's production was planned alongside the Batman before the Batman even was started. Like if the plan
Yeah.
was always to have the Batman and then this accompanying show,
Makes me
and
wonder,
just
right?
the amount of the work it would take to make those line up.
Did you get your ice cream?
Consistency.
I dig in my ice cream. It's chocolate and
Sorry,
yogurt.
his wife got him some ice cream.
Describe it, Justin, for the viewers in
You want
poetic
me,
terms.
you want me to describe it?
Yes.
Well, he's licking it like it's his last ice cream ever. Now he's licking it like he's never mind. Like it's his wife. That's what I was gonna say. I can't describe it poetically, but it looks good. Ice cream
It
sounds so good
does.
right now, actually.
The cone looks delicious too.
You're looking like a lover.
And
So
we could be getting the licking sounds ASMR.
ugh,
I'm muting whenever I'm looking this so you guys
thank
don't hear those. Me
thank God.
laughing this bad boy up.
Thank God, like a dog in a water bowl.
A dog in a water bowl.
I did want to make a comparison because I don't know if you guys have seen
I love
Gotham,
comparisons.
the show Gotham, but the penguin in that is a lot different than this penguin. He's like
It's a weasel.
skinnier. Yeah, he's skinnier. He has a weird relationship with his mom as well. So I don't know, Penguin, I guess I don't know, Penguin did Danny DeVito's Penguin have a I don't think his
No,
mom was around.
remember he was in the intro of Batman Returns. It was his parents putting him in a
Hmm.
carriage and into the
Right,
ravine and into a
because he
tunnel.
was deformed.
Yeah, they looked at his hands and they
Yeah.
screamed.
Yeah, he was because he was deformed. I forgot about that. Yeah, forget that. Like that penguin is our most unrealistic live action penguin, but still
Easy
great.
pig.
Yeah, he's just like a bowling ball or a boulder.
Bowling
Just
ball,
roll
little tiny legs.
I
him.
like Danny DeVito's performance though.
No, I do
It was
too.
just
I would
the
like to
first one I
see
recognized.
I would like to see it again. See him come back and do it again, but well, I don't know
Should
how.
multiverse.
Yeah.
That's still the craze these days. Multiverse.
Yep. Yeah, I like because the Penguin, Gotham tries to be real serious, and it's a good show. And I like they use the same names, Edward Nigma, not Edward, yeah, Edward Nigma, Oswald Cobblepot. I think there was a point where the Riddler was standing next to the Penguin in the show, and it was really cool to
Do they
see
call
them.
themselves by their villain names or no?
Not as much as to the point where I think I got to like season like maybe middle season four. Because there was a character I think she was created for the show. Her name was Fish Mooney, played by Jada Pinkett Smith, and I hated that character so freaking much. And they killed her off, and then they freaking brought her back. I was so mad. I was like, I'm done with this show. As soon as they brought her back, and as soon as they turned Poison Ivy's character into like a teenager, because she was like a kid, because Bruce and Selena Kyle, they're kids in the show and they're around the same age, but then Poison Ivy does something. What's her name? Her real name?
Pamela Iser,
Pam. Oh yeah, and
something like that.
yeah,
Pamela, I think it
Pamela or
is, right?
something. Yeah, I think you're right. But anyway, she does something and basically turns into a teenager on the spot, and I was like, God, this is getting too like
That's too
magical
fan
for me.
servicey.
Yeah, like I'm like I'm good. I'm done with this show, but. the difference between the two penguins is like night and day. Because the penguin in the Gotham is a little more cartoony, a little more exaggerated, where he limps because I think he hurt his leg or something like that. Um, and he's super super skinny, and this penguin, he's huge, and I don't know. I would rather, if I had to deal with one of the two penguins, I would deal with um the Gotham penguin because he seems more like a pushover.
Yeah, Danny DeVito's version came across as a pushover as well. I mean, he was relatively easy to defeat at the end of the
I
day when it
mean,
comes to physical fighting.
that is an
Yeah.
archetype of the Penguin character, but I like how they've taken that archetype for that character and subverted it, not subverted it, but rather like revamped it into the mafioso persona with him being like a turncoat, basically. It's like it's still the character, but it's realistic.
Yeah.
And like Gotham, Danny DeVito's, they're like caricatures of like, oh, this guy is a weakling and a pushover. That's what he is. Whereas the Penguin kind of takes that and like, okay, this is this kind of character who is normally a pushover and a kind of like, how do we take that and put that into a more naturalistic setting? That's what I loved about the Batman, and that's what I love about this Wells. They've dedicated themselves to remaining grounded,
Hmm.
and everything that happens so far all have realistic, like understandable logic behind the choices and the actions that these characters do. It's very, very like pleasant to the viewer. Like I enjoy watching that. There's no suspension of disbelief.
Hmm.
It's like all of this makes sense. These characters are insane and over the top, but it's still believable. I don't have that kind of like dichotomy of like, oh, that's crazy, but I'm watching a movie. No, it's just like that's a mafia and he's a backstabbing son of a bitch and he's gonna do what it takes to get to the top.
Do you think that Sophia Falcone's gonna find out who really killed her
Oh
brother
yeah. Yeah.
100%.
by
I
end
do,
of
I
the
think so
season,
too.
perhaps? I think so
Um,
because it'll be a good segue
Is
into the
there
Batman 2.
and I think it will because I think that's how exactly how they planned it
Mhm.
was it was going to the
Into
Batman, the Penguin, and the results of the ending of the Penguin results directly into
oh yeah,
the
there's
second
Batman
Batman.
too.
it's got to make the most that makes the most sense. There's got to be a payoff because I believe Colin Farrell's going to be uh, in and Penguin's going to be in the Batman 2 in some capacity. So
I mean, what has to happen is knowing what we know of the Penguin character is she's going to find out it's going to come to an ultimatum, like an ultimate uh, show between the two of them, and he's going to come out on top. Either she's thrown back into Arkham or she's dead. I don't see any other ending. I hate to like, oh hey, spoilers, but like that's like if it goes into the second movie and we know what the Penguin character becomes, which is a kingpin of Gotham,
right.
he has to win, which means
Yeah.
that she, no matter how dangerous and intimidating she is, ultimately has to lose. And I doubt they're gonna play that in a way that she somehow stays alive or in the game. Like she's either in jail indefinitely or she's dead.
I guess we'll find out.
Or maybe they'll become lovers.
Ugh.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Remember the scene where Penguin's fully naked on the chair and he's about to get his
Penguin dick.
arm severed?
Penguin dick.
That was an
Ugh.
interesting scene, like the torturous scene.
They
I
made a
felt
real
kind of
dick. They made a dick for his costume.
that's
He had a
right.
dick.
I wonder why they did that when we didn't even see anything below or couldn't
No,
even see it
but
lift
he
some
was nude, so they
material.
gave him a dick.
Dick.
Authenticity, right?
How many times
Yeah,
you can say dick?
I don't know, dick.
Dick, 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 dick.
But that whole scene, what made me, I was quite intimidated by Melodi's character, Sophia, and then they hear what the ruckus outside with the welcome gift and the body and payback and the missing finger. What was it? Which finger was it? I forgot.
I don't know.
But
I
the
will
ring was
say,
missing.
I will say
Yeah, I think
that
the index of the pinky.
her character is starting to seem a little more unhinged, at least, in the first two episodes. Because, like, there's a scene where they're at that party and then she takes the pasta and just kind of shoves it in her mouth and then, like, eats it. And then there's a scene where I guess it's her cousin that comes up to her and it's her daughter. And she's
Oh,
like, I'm your
right.
mom's cousin. And she goes, Oh, your Brett's loose. And she's like, Oh, I'll get it. She's like, I got it. And I was like, Oh, like, even I was kind of like taken aback when she did that. I was like, that was good. That was a
What
good,
was going on with her at that point? What was she thinking about? Was it the aftermath of seeing
yeah.
No,
the
I,
body?
I think it
I
was
don't.
after that, wasn't it? Or was it before
It
that?
was the fact that her cousin came up and was being all friendly with her
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
almost
This was the
got
when they
past
were
her
mourning. Everyone was
defenses.
mourning. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was mourning,
Yeah.
but she was like, "Oh, hey girl, let's do a girls trip. Let's, acting like everything was fine." She was treating her normal. She's used to everyone treating her like she's insane. Someone who was non-threatening enough treated her like she was normal. Almost got past her defenses. But when the woman's daughter came up, when her cousin's daughter came up,
Yeah.
she became defensive over her daughter, thereby
Yeah. What did,
playing her hand and showing that she is actually afraid of her and was doing all that to kind of protect herself, to take suspicion away from her.
yeah. What did she think she was going to do to her daughter? Like, I don't even like, even if she's crazy, like, I didn't think she was going to hurt her daughter or something. I don't know.
She's probably heard stories about the crazy things she's
Yeah,
done.
but still, like, I wouldn't be like, I mean, I wouldn't think, if anything, I would think she would hurt me before she hurts my daughter, right? I don't know. That was just kind of weird to me. I mean, it makes sense. I know why they did it.
Well, they've
Because
never explained like who they just say she's a serial killer and
yeah,
that she kills
well,
women.
yeah,
But
she
they
kills
haven't
women.
gone into detail. Like maybe she was killing
Not
kids.
yet. Not yet.
We don't know. So I'm guessing.
I think we will see some of that because we know that Carmine Falcone is going to appear being played by a different actor, Mark Strong, instead of the John Turturro who played
Oh yeah, played
Falcone
with
in the
Batman.
Batman. Anyways, it'll be like a younger version of Carmine, anyway. So who knows? Maybe we'll see some scenes with a younger
Sophia.
Sophia as well. So
Yeah,
that should be interesting.
that
I
should
don't.
be.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like the biggest fan when it comes to flashback sequences, but we'll see how they do it in this show because I feel like maybe one episode is going to be dedicated to a lot of flashback exposition. Perhaps we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see.
Were there any like camera movements that you guys noticed that were like appealing to you guys, or anything cinematography
Nah, not
wise? Anything
really.
that stood out?
I
There
mean,
was to
I,
me.
I like the color of the show a lot. It's very
Color
kind of,
grade?
yeah. It's not necessarily bright or anything. It looks I don't know. It looks like any other kind of mobbish type show, and I like the way I don't know. I just like the way it looks. Visually, it looks good.
Yeah, it feels consistent to the like the
mhm.
Batman. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
should, right?
agree. Yeah, and I do like the fact that they like it looks like the Batman like visually, but like it doesn't play like the Batman. The story's different, they don't really mention the Batman. I think they've mentioned him once so far, and he's not going to show up. And I like that. I like that part of it. Like we're kind of getting this whole separate story that's probably going to lead into the Batman.
There's a part of me that wonders, like, surely Oz, when he's sitting around drinking his drinks and looking through photos of people he's gonna blackmail, like he's thinking of what's Batman doing? Surely he is. We just can't see
Yeah,
those thoughts. I mean,
yeah,
it's
Colin
been 2 weeks since
Colin
his
Farrell says
interactions.
Colin Farrell says that he was not thinking about Batman.
Oh, was that the
In an
case?
an
Wow,
interview with Colin, he was saying
really?
like
He's
he's not
suppressing
thinking
them.
about the Batman at all.
He's suppressing those thoughts then on purpose. But it's just crazy. I think watching this show, it makes you realize how perhaps ridiculous it is to think about there's this guy in a black mask and cape roaming around and being a vigilante. I mean, how grounded this show comes across with something sub theatrical elements, of course, but it's like you, the fact that there's this guy fighting crime and and getting into my business type of mentality. It's crazy to think about. And I think it's a good thing, at least for me. I'm not thinking about what Bruce Wayne or the Batman's doing. Like even as an
Yeah.
outside viewer, like sure, as like a lot of everyone in Gotham City and around the world, they hear about this Batman figure and trying to save the day. And okay, let's move on, go on to the next day now. But yeah, I'm personally not thinking about the Batman, which that's a good thing. That's a plus. Because a lot of people are like, how can you have a Penguin show without the hero? You don't
Easy.
need it. You don't need it.
No, you don't.
Zach, you mentioned if we had any camera movements that we
Yes.
really liked. I was a big fan, particularly in episode two. They made very good use of some handheld camera work, particularly in the quiet moments. A lot of times in situations like that, they'll just like, lock the camera down. Um, but they had some good use using handhelds, particularly when Oz was under suspicion with the knife, and they were like interrogating everyone, and he had to plant the knife on someone else. There was just a little bit, I feel like it was planned, but there was just a little bit of like unsteadiness and uneasiness because that was a very quiet scene in terms of like action. There wasn't any crazy over the top action sequences with that, but they had an uneasiness and kind of a bit of a shakiness to it. And I think there was even one moment, I think I think like someone calls his name or something like that, and Oz looks at it, and right as he looks at it, there's just like this tiny little bump, just a tiny little like nudge of the camera, like Oz was taken aback and surprised. Um, and I want to say it was purposeful. If it wasn't purposeful, it was a dang good uh, serendipitous accident because it looked like it was presenting what he was feeling on the inside in that tense moment.
Like the slightest, most subtle camera movements can kind of match the mood, what's happening on screen.
Yep.
It's awesome. Justin, what's on your mind regarding the Penguin?
I don't know. I'm excited for episode three. I wasn't even gonna watch episode two because I was originally gonna watch movies for class, but then I was just sitting there and I think I had eaten or something, and I was eating. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch the Penguin. I'll just
Yeah,
knock it
fuck the
out.
kids. I'm gonna watch Penguin.
Yeah, I was like, plus the movies I was gonna watch I'd seen before, so it's not like it's a big deal. Like it was Mortal Kombat and John Wick, so I had seen those, a few times before. So I was like, I'll go ahead and, you know, watch the Penguin because I figured we're going to talk about it anyway. May as well watch the second episode. Now, the first episode, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really remember as much. I don't know why. I need to rewatch it, I think. But the second episode I watched yesterday, so it's still pretty fresh on my mind. I don't know. I don't really have much more to say, I guess, because like I think the show is gearing to be probably one of the more perfect shows I've seen in a while. Just like out of all the shows I've watched in my life. You know, it's gearing to be pretty perfect. I'm hoping for the
Yeah,
best. I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I mean, come on.
I think it's probably for me when it comes to DC media, movies and shows, it's probably up there, like top
Yeah,
five
I agree.
easily. I think it's up
Easily.
there. I think the Batman's maybe a step above, but and again, it would be cool to see the Batman in his own show, which is never going to happen for
I did
weird
rewatch
reasons.
most of the Batman the other day, and I was actually like, I was surprised because that's probably my third time watching it. 3 hour film. I was surprised at how like interested in the movie I still was. So yeah, even though I'd seen it before, because I could definitely like get up and walk away and come back and be okay and like not worry about having missed something because I'd seen it. But like, I don't know, I think Matt Reeves is doing a good job with his Batman universe. And like when Robert Pattinson was announced as the Batman, I wasn't, it wasn't like another Ben Affleck because when Ben Affleck was announced, everybody, had a little laugh. But I thought Ben Affleck was a fine choice. I still think that. I actually rewatched the scene from Zack Snyder's Justice League where he talks to the Joker. And I was like, if we had this Batman and this Joker, like, I think they could have maybe not knocked it out of the park, but like, I think it could have also been really good because I thought Jared Leto's Joker, like, the way he played, and I know we're not talking about him right now, but the way he played it, was fine. It's just the writing sucked. It's
Yeah.
just the writing just sucked. And Jared Leto's a wonderful actor. So when we saw him in Justice League, I was like, this Joker, this is the Jared Leto Joker that I think most of us wanted. I thought he did a great job as that Joker. So anyway, so yeah, I think that Matt Reeves is doing a good job. And I'm curious to see like what other plans he might have for this Batman universe. Especially with the Joker.
Yeah, and will the Penguin be just a limited series, one season, or can we see
Or will
another
it go more? Yeah.
more? I don't know. I'd like to see different characters get their own
Well,
series. If that makes
Colin Farrell,
sense.
Colin Farrell's an executive producer on the show, so maybe we'll see more.
Depends how well it
And that
does.
explains a lot. I feel like shows where the lead actor is also an executive producer just turn out better because the person spending the money is personally invested. Like
Yeah.
you know from a fact that this isn't just a cash grab. This is something that the person is actually involved in and wants it to look good. It's the same reason that Loki, if you've had a chance to see those yet, the Loki on Disney Plus is some of the best Marvel material
Don't
they've
spoil
put out.
season two though,
Certainly,
but
huh?
I said don't spoil season two, but because I haven't watched
I
it.
won't spoil it. I won't spoil it.
Okay.
But Loki season 1 or 2 is by far some of the best material that Marvel's put out since Infinity War and Endgame. 100%. And that's the fact that Tom Hiddleston was the driving force to get those series done. He was the executive producer. He brought in his own writing team, and he was the lead actor for it. So to these shows where the both the money and the art line up together, primarily because it's one of the same, it just ends. It just ends up. Sorry, I hit the mic. It just ends up well. Like it just ends up fantastic. So that explains a lot. I didn't know he was the producer on the show.
Yeah, and like I've been watching this show called Only Murders in the Building, and it's got Selena Gomez and Steve Martin and Martin Short. And like for one thing, Steve Martin helped create the show, and then you got Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Selena Gomez, all three as executive producers. So that kind of goes with the idea that they're invested in it, not just acting wise, like they have money in it, right? Or something invested in it. So it's like whether it be like money or it's like you can give, lower my salary and I'll, make me an executive producer or something. I don't know how it really works. I
It's
know I
typical. The artist the artist pushes
pace. Yeah.
for the improvement, and then the fact that they're also involved financially encourages them to better perform the art. So it's a instead of a cycle of, a lot of times when there's a cycle, it's a cycle of like destruction or like a self-feeding cycle. But this one is a self-feeding cycle of like productivity. I think it's a rare combo that Hollywood has stumbled upon that like works to make a really good material.
Yeah, and Matt
I
Reeves,
agree.
he apparently he didn't even like write the series, but he was like a producer on it. So
But Matt Reeves did write the Batman, did he not?
he did the Batman, of course. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
wonder who came in, and that was my question. It's like I wonder if they had planned the Penguin with the Batman. Obviously, Matt Reeves didn't. So who came in? Was that like a Max producer that came in? Was Colin Farrell just like, hey man, hey, I wanna keep doing this character. Let's do this. Like was it Colin Farrell's idea? Whose idea was it? How did it get matched up? This is like when you hear about they're making a Penguin show, logically on paper, that shouldn't make sense. Who wants to watch a show about a second-rate villain? When you compare him to the Joker, the Riddler, or Batman's other array of hard-hitting characters, the Penguin's always kind of been a joke. So you put that on paper, like, oh, let's make 8 seasons, or not 8 seasons, excuse me. We're gonna make 8 seasons, 8 episodes, an hour long each of the Penguin. That doesn't make any sense. But it does when you actually watch it, and it's really good. So whose idea was that?
It's the idea of many minds, I think. Probably Matt Reeves is included. It
No,
makes
my
you
guess is
wonder.
Matt Reeves was definitely included in that.
Yeah. I think wonder what happens after the trilogy, the Batman trilogy. Will it mean the end of this, the Batman universe? So everyone could focus on the James Gunn era of the Batman, or could they continue doing spin-offs of this of certain characters in this world? Because I think
Man, if they're smart
I'd
about
be
doing
interested.
spin-offs, this is this is some of the most engaging Batman universe. Like this is one of the most engaging Batman universes that they've created.
Right. I think there were talks of, I don't know which universe for sure, but an Arkham show, but then those plans were put on hold indefinitely, I read. But it would have been
Yeah.
interesting to have it set in this world as well.
I was actually really excited about that show. But then they, canceled it. I was like, dang, they recently mentioned about canceling that. I was kind of disappointed. I was really excited to see what it would be like in Arkham, or like I would even be okay with like a show about Blackgate, right? Because Blackgate's a prison, or both. I don't know how close they are in proximity to each other, but be kind of cool to see at least the Arkham because it's crazy people.
Yeah, I think maybe another police drama type show, even though we've already had
Gotham,
one. Yeah, but maybe one in this
Gotham
universe
Nine-Nine.
is something like that. Yeah, why
Gotham
not?
99.
I think there's opportunities to create some compelling TV in
Well,
Gotham. Explore the
I think it would
corruption.
be
Explore it.
I think it would be really cool to see is it Jeffrey Wright? I believe that's
Yeah.
the
yeah,
actor. His
yeah,
Gordon. I think it'd
yeah,
be really cool to see a show centering on Jeffrey Wright's
Gordon.
Gordon
So just
character.
make another Gotham show and let Jeffrey
Yeah.
But
Wright be
make it
Gordon too.
make it
I know.
in the Reeve universe.
I'm used to Jeffrey Wright on like series. I know him from the
Well, he's
Boardwalk
the
Empire.
Watcher. He's the Watcher on What If? He voices him anyway.
Yeah, he's a great actor. Like
He is a great actor. He is a
I-
wonderful actor.
he's
Sorry,
genius. He's genius.
I do
But yeah,
agree
I think
though.
that's all I could really muster up the knowledge of talking about the Joker. I'm just there's a lot more to see. So I'm like looking forward to seeing what's to come.
Yeah, me too. Something you said earlier, Jake, was like a penguin show shouldn't make very much sense, but I'm glad that they kind of overlooked that and was like, we're gonna do this anyway. Let's make this show and see how good it could be. And like it, I mean, the first time I saw the penguin, I wasn't like, oh my God, he can make a TV show, but I was like, this is the probably the coolest penguin I've ever seen.
That is
Um,
true.
like cool, like he's not like he's called the penguin. He has a lip, but he's feared, And I
Mhm.
mean, other penguins probably have been feared a little bit, but I think he's kind of the most intimidating penguin we've ever seen.
The other penguins are feared because the universe they live in calls for it. Colin
Okay.
Farrell's penguin is feared because there's weight behind the character.
Literally
One
and
is
figuratively.
Like one is like, oh, that's the plot. Oh, he's a bad guy. Ooh. Versus here in the Penguin, we can see like, oh, that's a bad guy.
I agree. Yeah, yeah, I guess you're right, but even so, like he's still intimidating. He straight up, I mean, like you were talking about earlier, Zach, he's just impulse takes over and he just shoots that guy. And I'm like I could
If he
tell he was,
realizes after he kills him,
Oh,
he's
fuck.
actually,
he's like,
yeah,
shit, I gotta, now I gotta clean this up. It's like,
I like how it cuts his fuck off into the in the title. He's like, oh fuck.
yeah, yeah, the title. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I was excited. Even that little scene where he just, just kind of picks up his gun and just kills him. He's like, screw this guy. I was like, all right, I can get down with this. Guy that impulsively kills people.
he
Probably, and,
grabs your
and
attention
and
right
like
off the bat.
instantly, it was a mistake because he's the son of Carmine Falcone. It's just, he wasn't supposed to do that, but he did it anyway because he's the freaking penguin. So I guess we'll see how it goes.
I guess, how do you hope this links to the sequel, The Batman 2? And that comes out in 2026, apparently, that the script's just been wrapped up. We don't really know much. We just know it's going to take place in winter.
I think
What?
Sophia Falcone, if they don't kill her off, might be bigger deal than she seems now. Or the Penguin will be a bigger deal. I don't know. Like it's hard to tell because like the Penguin really wasn't that big of a deal in the Batman. It was more about the
He's just more a
Riddler.
little obstacle.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping they do
I
something better with this character in the sequel. And honestly, I'm hoping that Sophia
better.
Falcone lives. Like
Me
she
too. Yeah.
remains. I don't. She doesn't need to die. I don't think.
No.
Even if she finds out who the Penguin is and who he killed her brother, and I guess just adds more conflict to the movie.
You think maybe she survives and he just starts his own like mob family?
Oh, I could see that.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
might need to do that to battle against the Falcons led by
The
Sophia.
Penguin.
And
Mhm.
yeah, I think we might see that because we know for sure Colin Farrell is going to be making a return in the Batman 2. But I think that'd be interesting dynamic. But I don't want to be too bloated either. Whatever they plan to do, hopefully, I don't want to say. I mean, it'd be cool to see Mr. Freeze, but how do you? It seems a bit too theatrical, too
I
fantastical for this
If we're being
universe.
realistic on how it's going to affect the Batman, what's probably going to happen is it's probably going to affect the background universe of the Batman. They keep talking about these new types of drugs that are coming in. It's going to supplant drops.
Yeah.
So my guess is like in next Batman, there's a new drug, and whatever the effects are, maybe the effects are making people go crazy, or maybe it's causing people to, hallucinate, or maybe someone's able to pass something through the drugs. I don't think necessarily Colin Farrell's character might
They,
not be the main antagonist in the second Batman,
no, I
but
don't think so either.
the consequences of his actions in the TV show will probably set the backdrop for whatever happens in the second
Yeah.
movie.
No,
I
yeah,
guess
I
they're
think that's pretty viable right there. Because they still haven't introduced the Scarecrow, who has his own little drug. I don't know if they're going to do it, but it's just something to think about. Maybe it helps bring the Scarecrow about. I don't know, but
as long as they keep the Joker out of it until the third movie, if or just not at all. I'm fine with that.
well, no, I want the Joker only because Barry, what's his face, is going to be the Joker, or at least he was in that deleted scene, and like
I wish they didn't even release that. It could have like
it was
cheapened the reveal to me.
It was kind of weird, and like I remember when I went and saw the Batman in theaters, they had that quick little like one frame thing, and it was basically a date. It was a date when the deleted scene would release. You don't see that very often anymore, where you can hold something like that secret. Because I mean, when it happened, everybody was like, What was that? What was that?" And then it was the date for that deleted scene. It was
Yeah,
kind of neat.
it appears that he already has a relationship uh, with the Joker. He's already put him in jail.
Oh
I thought
yeah,
you
yeah.
said the Joker already has a relationship, and I was like, what, with a coffin,
Well,
dirt
it's
in the
weird.
ground,
It's weird
pretty
because
nasty.
He's asking Joker for help
How does
to
he
solve the
know?
riddles.
Well, I'm curious how he knows who the Joker is. I mean, he is Batman, so it's like not probably not that hard to figure out, but still, I'm like, how did he figure it out? How did he figure out who the Joker is, and how? Why would he need go to him for help? Period.
Because he
Just
put him
because
in
he's
the
a
first place, maybe in
well,
his first
maybe,
year.
yeah,
Lame.
maybe I don't know. Anyway,
I guess to wrap things up, just anything else like that's non-Penguin related, anything regarding the DC U or Joker 2 or anything that you guys would like to
I
share your
am
thoughts
stoked
on.
for was it
Folie à deux or something.
Folie à deux?
but
Jacques à deux? Folie à deux?
but
Very controversial looking at the reviews. I mean, the first one wasn't loved, but this one's even more divisive, even from the people that loved uh, the structure of the first movie, the musical aspects, trying to mix that with the
Look,
courtroom drama. People are upset because it's a crazy experience, I guess.
it's a musical. You know what? I'm all for it. Like, there's not enough experimentation in mainstream tentpole films. There's the indie films, and there's kind of like these art house films that no one actually goes out and watches, and they're quite good films, but like no one goes and watches these. So that and all the tentpole films, like think about it, for like the past decade, like all the major releases have been superhero films, and they all have the kind of the same predictable like setup and payout for everything. They're all characters we know, we're all familiar with them. Um, and just so the fact that they are trying something and experimenting with it and doing something that's a little weird and a little different, I think is a step back in the right direction. We're never going to be rid of superhero movies now. They are a mainstream, mainstay, you know, fact for moviegoers now. But getting back into some originality, getting back into some of that experimentation, like, uh, I mean, I just remember like the first superhero, the first main superhero movies came out, like Raimi's Spider-Man. You know, like Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock has like horror elements in it and like campy slasher stuff. And some of the early like X-Men movies, like they took chances. Not all of them worked out, but they took artistic chances. And so I think it's a step back in the right direction to put some of that back into a superhero
Yeah,
film.
and that's what some people that love the first movie are saying about the second one. While they appreciate the cinematic quality, the artistic choices, they don't believe this experimentation paid off. But well, I guess we'll have our opinions when
I
and if we see it.
I was talking to my colleagues the other day, and one of them said I might go see the Joker too, and my immediate response was lame. And you guys know why I don't want to go see it.
Lady Gaga.
You're biased.
Yeah. But let me think, because not everyone's on Twitter all the time or staying up to date with the Hollywood and what's going on with film. But if you went out into the world right now and like a man on the street and ask you, so what do you know about the Joker 2? I doubt many people are going to know that it has musical elements in it.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will be surprised when they get their butts into the theaters with their massive buckets of
Well, yeah.
popcorn,
Even when
expecting a lot of the same of the first movie, and they have these sudden musical sequences. There's gonna be a lot of WTFs, I'm sure.
well,
All the
the
incels gonna cry in their popcorn
musical
bucket.
part doesn't bother me. It's I just don't care for and it, honestly I'll probably end up going to see it. I don't know. But
Yeah,
like I just don't care for Lady Gaga as an actor. I don't care for a lot of musicians who become actors. I don't know why. I just don't. Even if
hey
they're
man,
good.
you didn't care for Colin Farrell either, and guess what? Guess what, baby?
Well, I can tell you that most actors now, rappers can become really good actors. I do think Justin Timberlake's a pretty good actor.
Harry
Uh,
Styles.
no, no.
Harry Styles has been in some fantastic movies.
He was in that one movie with Florence Pugh. What is it called? Don't
He was
Worry,
in Don't
Darling.
Worry, Darling. He was
Yeah, he
also
was fine.
in um
He was in Eternals.
one of them war movies, right?
Yeah, Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in good stuff, man.
All right. I'm not saying that I couldn't be swayed, but so far there hasn't been even the actors, musicians that become actors that I do like. I'm not like, oh my God, so great, because they're musicians, right? I don't know. They just some of them, I don't know, but anyway, I'm not excited about Lady Gaga, and I've seen Lady Gaga in several things, right? It's not like I'm like, oh, Lady Gaga, her music sucks. I don't want to watch her movies. It's like I've seen her act in a couple things, not several. And I was not impressed, and I didn't care
So,
for it.
see, I'm going into this with no bias because I've never seen her act in anything. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad I
have.
have that.
I just not interested. But not that's not and like again, musical elements, that isn't what bothers me. I like weird. I love
I think a
weird.
lot of people, for a lot of people, the musical element's going to turn people off. I mean,
Yeah.
sadly.
I remember
But
when the Mean Girls movie, just mo the most recent one, came out, and my I guess my nephew-in-law, he was like, he texted, he's like, "Do y'all know Mean Girls was a musical?" I was like, yeah. He was like, Taylor, my niece, didn't tell me that, and I sat down and he sat down expecting a movie and turned out a musical. So when we went and saw Beetlejuice the other day, a few weeks ago, we saw a preview for Wicked that's coming out, which by the way, I'll go see Wicked. I'll go see Wicked 100%. But Wicked came out or the preview and I looked at him, I go, "Hey man, that's a musical." He goes, "Okay." I was like, just in case Taylor tries to get you to go see it, just so now it's a musical. He's like, "Oh, thanks, man." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "It's a good musical. It's a good one. I don't know how the movie's going to turn out because, cats. That's all I got to say about that." But
cats.
Cats came out as a movie and
We
it
got to
looks,
revisit that old gem.
no thanks. I mean, Cats for the most part looks great. Just not a good movie.
Not a
But,
terrible movie. Awful
but
movie.
and Wicked might turn out to be the same. Just looks great, but is a
I
terrible
think
movie.
I think
Speaking of,
musical elements.
if you guys want to give me a Christmas present, you guys should get me cats because my wife won't let me buy it.
The Blu-ray.
Yeah,
I'll get you a cat. How's that sound? Just
I have a couple cats. I want the movie.
um,
Sure, I'll get you the movie, man.
Hell yeah.
yeah, he'll get you the movie. I won't get you shit.
But I think the music elements will work for the Joker just because we're talking about a guy that's in his own crazy mind doing crazy things. Just think of that one bathroom scene where he's weirdly dancing in the first movie. Just take that and whatever's going on in his mind there, we get to personify it in this crazy set piece, set pieces that we'll probably end up seeing in Joker 2. But the thing is, will these musical numbers feel like they're filler or just like they're to help carry the story? Like, are they going to be with purpose? That's the question. But they could be look wonderful and sound great, and everyone could do a fantastic acting and singing job. But if it doesn't feel like it connects with uh, things, then then that's where it's like, all right, what are we watching? We have three
Yeah.
different movies going on in the same film, but maybe that's part of uh, the cinematic vision, the just the craziness of everything of these two people, Harley Quinzel and Arthur Fleck. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
What do
I
you think about
just
what do you think about Arthur Fleck and his gaunt look once again? Remember how skinny he looked in the first one, and then he gained his weight back, and now he's back to looking skinny for this film, and then for the press tour, he's looking normal. It's like, how does he do that? What's he not eating?
could be CGI, but I don't think it is.
No, I think he's kind of a method actor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a great actor.
crazy. I can't even imagine how you lose all that weight, and I imagine a certain amount of time that they want him in
That dude had to be hungry the whole film shoot.
one apple a day. I think that's like
I think it was like an apple day and like a cigarette, wasn't it?
yeah, something like that. Maybe that was Killian. Is it Killian Murphy?
Oh yeah, that's
He did
Killian.
he did something like that. Because he's already a kind of a thin guy, but he got even thinner for Oppenheimer, which I hear they're bringing back to theaters, or is that Interstellar? I forget.
Interstellar.
Oppenheimer 2, Electric Boogaloo.
No, Interstellar. I actually just had this conversation with my students that it was coming out again for the 10-year
Is it November?
anniversary because we were yeah, I think so because we were talking about they were talking about somebody one of my students was talking about Interstellar and I was like that's actually being re-released in
You've
theaters. I
never
was
seen it,
like
have
in
you?
the film no, and the film
You
version is
never seen
being
it?
re-released. Mm-mm.
Now's your chance, buddy. It's a
Yeah,
great
well,
movie.
that's what I was like. I was like, oh my God,
Beautiful.
I'm gonna see this movie now,
You
just
have an
because.
you have epiphany moments
I mean,
as if you're Matthew McConaughey's character. You're having these epiphany moments like him in the movie. You're feeling what he's feeling.
well,
To be fair, I
good.
did call it first time I saw it in 15 minutes, but it's still really good.
Well, don't
Everyone's seen the gifs of him crying. That's actually a wonderful scene.
Oh yeah, I have seen pretty a lot of gifs of him crying and like it what he's watching is always something different. It's always
Yeah.
stupid stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
yeah, good show. Good show. I'm excited to see what comes about with it and
Penguin,
yeah,
Joker.
see some more penguin penis,
I
right?
mean, we still got 6 episodes.
Yeah.
It could flip out.
Yeah. Real quick side note, I've been trying to finish Titans and
Oh yeah, it's a good show. I mean, campy
I
as it is.
well like I'm not used to seeing a lot of nudity but like with these shows. Um but we got penguin penis and stuff like that and it's like I
We
kind
didn't
of
even
hope
see it. We didn't even see it.
yeah, you're right.
Gross.
But you do see boobs in Titans and I was like and I saw it like it was like a it was when Jason Todd went to this like one of those things like webcam type shows, except for you're there and you're looking at them through glass, and like this girl's just totally naked, and I was like, oh my God, like it kind of threw me off because it's Titans, it's a DC show, but then I remember, DC is trying to be a little, or at least used to try to be a little harder than Marvel, and I really don't want that to go away. Like I'm not saying I want to see boobs and dick every time I watch a
We
episode
saw
of
some in the
something.
Penguin. Remember that lady? I think it might have been
Flash, yeah, she flashed
yeah,
a boob or two.
right.
Yeah, and
Bit
like
of Vic, I think.
I just hope that like with James Gunn's DCU, he doesn't like totally Marvelize it, you know. And
Oh, he
I'm
is,
not.
man. He
You're just praying
is.
at the altar, James Gunn. Please, just one boob,
Just
Mr.
give me a
Gunn.
boob. Just give me a
Just give me a
tit,
boob.
No,
a nipple. Give
James
me a
Gunn's
nipple.
gonna be. It's gonna be
Give me a
Superman.
side shaft.
No,
That's all I ask.
no, Superman in June or July, whenever the movie's coming out. He's gonna be wearing the red trunks. He's gonna be saving cats, smiling all the time. We're not gonna have the dark, broody Superman anymore. James Gunn wants to stray away from that. He wants to appeal to the wider audience. He wants to appeal to, I guess, try to appeal to everyone. Meanwhile, the Snyder cult will continue to yearn for
Yearn
projects
for the Bob.
that will never come to fruition. They're
No,
going to be
well,
asking for the Snyder cut of everything,
Ayer
the
cut.
Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. They're not going anywhere.
No, I
Again,
think
I love that universe too, but I've moved on.
yeah, for sure. Here's the thing: is like I would love the Snyderverse to come back somehow, and people are always like,
Comics.
Netflix is looking to, well, yeah, the comics are going to do it, but Netflix is looking to buy the Snyder. And my friend actually just told me that recently, and I was like, oh yeah, oh okay. And I thought to myself, no, they're not. They're just not. And so I don't think it's coming back. But not to say I would love to see it,
Of
but
course.
I just don't think it's coming back.
I don't think they're not going to do Elseworlds with Zack Snyder anytime soon.
Oh man, but they should. They should at least do one movie. I don't know what movie, but I mean, he kind of I don't know. He kind of helped the DC. I mean, yeah, they weren't doing well, but like I still really liked the Snyderverse. I liked how dark and broody it was. It's kind of like I just enjoyed it because it was so much different than Marvel. I don't know. I just like they can do one movie. They can let him do one movie. Come on.
DCU just needs to take their time and always think about competing with Marvel all the time. They don't need to rush
Well,
like they
that's what they
did
were doing
with
before was competing
yeah.
with Marvel.
Well, they're always
Uh,
going to compete with Marvel, but they just need to take their time this
but they,
time.
yeah, if they do that, they might actually do better against Marvel.
Yeah. We have faith in James Gunn and
Fingers
Hamada.
crossed. Fingers
All right,
crossed.
Justin, do you want to close this out with
Yeah,
the
sure.
lovely outro,
So,
reminding people of the socials?
yeah, thanks for listening to our episode of The Penguin while we were fumbling around for words sometimes. We love the show. It was a great show. We're excited to see where it goes. So
Only
if
two
you,
episodes in.
yeah,
It's
that's true.
promising.
But usually what we do is we wait for the show to watch the whole show and then talk about it. But this time we were like, no. Originally we were supposed to just do the first episode, but we got to watch the second one, so we figured why not talk about both of
More
them.
to talk about.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for listening. And if you have any ideas for episodes for us, you know, you can let us know. If not, you just want to say hello or you want to say go F yourselves, totally hit us up on any of the popular socials. And then you can listen to us on most places you get your podcast. So thanks for listening. And let me find the stop button before okay, here it is. And yeah, Jake,
Have a fantastic day.
bye.